The hand that holds the dagger to your throat was once the same hand you shook in trust. You look into their eyes, searching for a reason, but you find only cold calculation. You were not betrayed by a monster. You were undone by human nature itself. The fatal flaw was not their ambition, but your blindness. What if instead of a victim you could have been the architect? Let us begin by dissecting a pleasant and popular lie. It is the story you have been told since birth, the bedrock upon which the weak build their fragile lives. It is the belief in loyalty as a natural state, a moral virtue, a sacred bond between good people. In this story, trust is a gift freely given, and betrayal is a shocking aberration, a glitch in the moral code of the universe. The idealist lives and dies by this story. He builds his house upon the shifting sands of human sentiment. He believes in the strength of promises, the permanence of gratitude, and the inherent decency of his fellow man. He judges others by their words, their smiles, and the warmth of their handshakes. He operates on the assumption that the world should be a certain way, and that men will eventually rise to meet that expectation. This is why he always fails. This is why his name is forgotten, his legacy erased, his throat cut in the dark by the very man he called his brother. His good faith is not a shield, it is a target. His predictable morality is not a strength, it is a cage, the bars of which his enemies can see with perfect clarity. He would never strike a man in the back, so he never thinks to watch his own. He would never break a promise for personal gain, so he believes the promise is made to him. He is playing a game of chess, meticulously following the rules of honor, while his opponent, the man who understands reality, is prepared to flip the table, gouge out his eyes, and use the chess pieces as weapons. The idealist is a lamb who wanders into a den of wolves, armed only with the conviction that wolves should be vegetarians. The outcome is not a tragedy, it is an inevitability. It is the cold, hard price of negligence. For a student of power, this worldview is not merely naive, it is a terminal disease. To build an enterprise, a state, or even a secure existence upon the presumed goodness of others is to build a cathedral on a fault line. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this fundamental truth. He looked upon the wreckage of states and the ghosts of well-intentioned princes, and he diagnosed the sickness. They saw the world as they wished it to be, not as it is. And what is the world in its raw, unvarnished state? It is a theater of ambition, a marketplace of interests. The man who refuses to see this is not moral. He is a fool, and power has no room for fools. The first and most crucial step to wielding power is to shatter this illusion within yourself. You must perform a painful surgery on your own soul, cutting away the comforting lies of your youth and cauterizing the wound with the searing flame of reality. You must learn to see men not as they ought to be, but as they are. Ungrateful, fickle simulators and deceivers, avoiders of danger, greedy for gain. This is not cynicism, it is clarity. It is the foundation upon which all lasting power is built. Once the illusion is shattered, the real work can begin. The prince, the true strategist, understands a second great truth. Loyalty is not an emotion to be felt. It is a resource to be managed. It is not a gift you receive. It is a condition you must engineer. Like gold, it must be located, extracted, tested for purity, and then locked away. To leave it untested is to invite counterfeit currency into your treasury, a weakness that will bankrupt you at the most critical moment. You would not build a fortress wall with untested stones. You would not go to war with untested steel. Why then would you build your inner circle with untested men? This is the core of the Machiavellian doctrine of loyalty. It is a shift from passive hope to active verification. The universal constant that governs all human interaction is not love, nor honor, nor duty. It is self-interest. A man is loyal to you only so long as his interests are aligned with yours. The moment a more profitable path appears, a path that offers him more power, more wealth, more security at your expense, his loyalty will be put to the test. The idealist hopes it will hold. The prince knows it will not, unless he has structured the equation to make it so. The art of power is the art of managing self-interest. You must create a system in which loyalty to you is the most profitable, most logical, and safest course of action for those around you. Their ambition must serve your ambition. Their preservation must depend entirely on your own. This requires you to become a cold and dispassionate analyst of human nature. You must stop listening to what men say and watch only what they do. Words are cheap, a currency for fools and actors. Actions, especially under pressure, are the only truth. This is why you must test them. A test is not an act of paranoia, it is an act of supreme diligence. It is the scientific method applied to the acquisition of power. You create a controlled environment, you apply a specific pressure, and you observe the result. You do not ask a man if he is loyal, you create a situation where he has the opportunity to be disloyal, and you watch his choice from the shadows. You do not ask if he is courageous, you place him before a manufactured danger and measure his response. The answers you receive from these experiments are the only ones that matter. They are the stones upon which you will build your empire, or the evidence upon which you will sign a man's death warrant. To govern a state or your own fate, you must first learn to govern the ambitions of others, and you cannot govern what you do not understand. The 5 steps that follow are not a game. They are the instruments of a surgeon designed to cut through the flesh of appearance and expose the beating heart of a man's true intention. For as Machiavelli wrote, men have less hesitation in offending one who is loved than one who is feared. For love is held by a bond of obligation, which men being wicked, is broken on every opportunity for their own profit. To learn how to build alliances of iron, not glass, comment "Interest is king," and subscribe to master the arsenal that follows. You have shattered the comforting illusion of trust. You have accepted the cold reality of human nature, governed not by virtue, but by a relentless calculus of self-interest. Now, you must learn the craft of the physician who diagnoses a disease before it consumes the body. The tools for this initial examination are not the hammer and the blade, but the probe and the looking glass. Before the lion roars and shows its strength, the fox must move silently through the shadows, gathering intelligence. The first tests of loyalty are not confrontations, they are calibrations. They are designed to measure the true substance of the men around you with such subtlety that they are unaware they are even being weighed. Your first objective is not to expose a traitor, but to build a precise and undeniable map of the human terrain you command. The first principle you will master is the economy of effort. Human energy is a finite resource, the most valuable currency any individual possesses. Where a man chooses to spend this currency reveals everything about his priorities and allegiances. Observe the world around you. Effort is always directed toward an expected return. The farmer does not till the soil for his love of dirt. He expects a harvest. The merchant does not risk his ships on the open sea for the adventure. He expects a profit. So it is with the men in your circle. Their every action is an investment, and they are constantly calculating the potential dividend. The mercenary sells his effort for coin, a simple and transparent transaction. His loyalty lasts only until the final payment is made or a higher bidder emerges. But the loyalty you must cultivate is far more complex. You are not merely hiring a sword. You are building a foundation for a lasting structure of power. Therefore, you must learn to distinguish between the man who works for his next meal and the man who works for the future of your shared enterprise. The first sees his effort as an expense to be minimized. The second sees his effort as an investment in his own destiny, which he has irrevocably tied to yours. To find this man, you must create situations that offer no immediate, tangible reward. You must test his willingness to invest his energy in you, not for a promised payment, but out of a deeper understanding that your victory is his victory. This is the bedrock of all meaningful allegiance. The man who willingly shoulders an inconvenient burden for your sake, without complaint or a request for compensation, is demonstrating that he values your strategic position more than his momentary comfort. He is signaling his belief in the long-term vision. The man who hesitates, who sighs, who produces a ledger of excuses or subtly implies a future debt, is revealing that his internal calculus is short-term. He is a contractor, not a partner. And contractors have no place in the inner sanctum of power. This brings us to the first practical application, the first turn of the screw, the test of the asymmetrical favor. Your execution of this test must be flawless in its casualness. It cannot appear to be a test at all. Select a target, an individual whose allegiance you wish to measure. You will then ask of them a favor that is deliberately designed to be inconvenient, time-consuming, and utterly devoid of any reciprocal benefit or glory. It must be a task that occurs below the threshold of official duty, a personal request that forces them to expend their private energy. Perhaps you require a rare text to be retrieved from a distant library at an awkward hour. Perhaps you need a summary of a dense and tedious report that has no bearing on their official responsibilities. The request must be legitimate enough not to arouse suspicion, but burdensome enough to provoke a genuine reaction. Now, you observe, the trap is set, and their response is the evidence. The sycophant or the man of low quality may agree with effusive enthusiasm, but then fail to deliver, returning later with a litany of elaborate excuses. His initial eagerness was a performance. His subsequent failure is the truth. The purely transactional man may perform the task, but will ensure you are acutely aware of the sacrifice he made. He will mention the late hours, the difficulty, the other important duties he set aside. He is not doing you a favor. He is opening a line of credit which he fully intends to collect upon. His loyalty is an entry in a ledger. Then there is the third man, the man you are searching for. He will accept the task with quiet diligence. He will ask clarifying questions, not to question the burden, but to ensure the task is done correctly. He will return not with complaints, but with the completed work. He may even provide insights you did not request, having taken the initiative to understand the underlying purpose of the favor. He does this because he understands the economy of effort on a higher level. He sees that his expenditure of energy, even on a menial task, contributes to the overall strength and efficiency of your position. He is not merely serving you, he is serving the structure of power from which he derives his own potential. He has passed the first calibration. He has demonstrated that his calculus is aligned with yours. Having measured a man's willingness to invest his effort, you must now measure the quality of his intellect and the integrity of his counsel. This brings us to the second great principle, the mirror of dissent. A ruler is surrounded by two types of liars, those who flatter him to gain favor and those who flatter him to accelerate his ruin. The sycophant is a parasite who thrives on the ego of his host. He tells you that your flawed plans are brilliant, that your foolish notions are strokes of genius. He is a poison administered in sweet doses, rotting your judgment from within. He agrees with everything you say not because he respects you, but because he holds you in such contempt that he believes you are incapable of handling the truth. He is a more dangerous enemy than the man who holds a knife to your ribs, for his blade is invisible and it strikes directly at your mind. A wise prince understands that clear vision is his single greatest weapon, and that this vision is easily clouded by the smoke of perpetual affirmation. Therefore, he must actively seek out the cold, hard clarity of intelligent disagreement. This is not a call for democracy or debate among equals. It is a strategic necessity. You require men who are loyal not to your whims, but to your ultimate success. Their function is to be a corrective lens, a mirror that shows you the unflattering but necessary truth. The man who is willing to risk your momentary displeasure to save you from a strategic blunder is offering a far higher form of loyalty than the man who cheerfully applauds your march toward a cliff. To find this man, you must create a forum for his courage to reveal itself. This is the purpose of the second test, the test of the imperfect idea. In a private council with a select group or an individual, you will present a plan of action. This plan, crafted by you in secret, must be convincing on the surface but contain a subtle yet critical, strategic flaw. Perhaps the timing is wrong, the resources are miscalculated, or it underestimates a key rival. The flaw must be discoverable by any intelligent subordinate who is genuinely engaged with the problem. Your presentation must be confident, even passionate. You are testing their courage to interrupt a moving train. Now, you listen. The responses will sort the men into their true categories with terrifying precision. The fool will see no flaw and offer his enthusiastic, worthless support. The sycophant will see the flaw, but will say nothing, or worse, will praise the very element that constitutes the weakness, hoping to ingratiate himself with you. His silence is treason. The conspirator, the most dangerous of all, will see the flaw and will enthusiastically endorse the plan, recognizing that your failure will create a power vacuum that he can exploit. He will be the loudest voice in the room, pushing you toward your own demise. Then a fourth man may speak. He will be hesitant, respectful, but firm. He will not attack you or your intelligence. Instead, he will attack the problem. He will say, "My lord, the plan is bold, but have we considered how our rival will react to this specific move? Their patterns suggest they will counter us here at our weakest point." This man is not challenging your authority. He is defending your throne. He is demonstrating that his loyalty is to the success of the enterprise, to the preservation of your power. He is willing to enter the treacherous space of dissent, to risk being seen as difficult or insubordinate in order to protect you from your own potential misstep. This man is not a servant. He is a tool. He is a weapon. He is the man you keep close. The others are ornaments, liabilities, or assassins waiting for their moment. You have calibrated the instruments of observation. You have learned to distinguish the hollow echo of flattery from the resonant chord of honest counsel. But observation is a passive art. It is the work of a scholar, not a sovereign. To truly understand the mechanics of the souls you command, you cannot merely watch them in their natural state. You must introduce a catalyst. You must apply pressure to the unseen cracks in their character until they widen into chasms, revealing the truth within. The time has come to move from diagnosis to vivisection. You must now set the stage, arrange the actors, and direct a series of short, brutal plays whose final act is the revelation of intent. This requires a new and far more demanding form of internal discipline. It requires you to wage a war not against your enemies but against yourself. The battlefield is your own mind. The enemy is your own human sentiment. To execute the tests that follow, you must achieve a state of perfect, surgical detachment. You must learn to see the men and women around you not as friends, confidants, or companions, but as pieces on a grand board, each with a designated function, a limited range of movement, and a potential for sacrifice. Affection, warmth, shared history, these are the contaminants that corrupt data. They are the fog that obscures the cold, clear lines of strategic reality. The surgeon who allows his hand to tremble with empathy for the patient's pain will make a fatal incision. In the same way, the prince who hesitates to test a friend out of a misguided sense of camaraderie has already condemned himself. He has chosen sentiment over security, a bargain that always ends in ruin. This detachment is not cruelty. It is the highest form of responsibility. It is the recognition that the stability of the entire structure, your state, your enterprise, your very life, rests upon the integrity of its individual components. A weak link, tolerated out of fondness, will be the point where the entire chain breaks under pressure. Therefore, you must learn to silence the part of you that craves connection and empower the part that demands certainty. Every individual in your orbit must be subjected to the same dispassionate analysis. Their value is not determined by your personal feelings for them, but by their utility and their reliability under duress. This internal victory, this mastery over your own emotional landscape, is the absolute prerequisite for the next phase. Without it, you will falter, you will make exceptions, and you will be destroyed by the very exception you make. Once you have achieved this state of clinical objectivity, you become the director of a hidden theater. Your court, your office, your inner circle. This is your stage. You do not wait for a crisis to reveal the character of your subordinates. You manufacture your own, in a controlled environment, on a schedule of your choosing. This is the art of social dissection. You will create scenarios that appear to be the natural unfolding of events, the chaotic interplay of fortune. But in reality, they will be meticulously crafted experiments, each designed to isolate and measure a specific quality: discretion, courage, ambition, greed. You will bait the trap with the most tempting morsels, secrets, opportunities for advancement, the misfortunes of others, and you will watch, unseen from the wings, as your actors play their parts. Their choices, made when they believe they are navigating the whims of chance, will be the purest expression of their inner selves. They will write their own verdicts in the ink of their actions. The first of these active provocations is the test of the information bait. Human beings are defined by their appetites, and few appetites are as voracious as the hunger for knowledge that confers an advantage. A secret is not merely information, it is a unit of power. It can be traded for favor, used as a weapon, or leveraged for status. To know something that others do not is to possess an invisible currency. This test is designed to see how your subordinates manage this currency. First, you will fabricate a piece of sensitive information. It must be false to ensure no real damage is done should it escape, but it must be entirely plausible. It should hint at a future opportunity, a pending promotion, a shift in strategy, a lucrative new venture, or a hidden vulnerability, a weakness in a rival or even in yourself. The bait must be irresistible. The true artistry of this test lies in the delivery. You will not share the same secret with everyone. To different, carefully selected individuals, you will entrust slightly different versions of the information. To one, you might reveal that a new territory will be opening to the east. To another, you will confide that the expansion will be to the west. To a third, you will hint at a secret alliance that makes all expansion impossible. You then release these competing narratives into the ecosystem of your organization, and you wait. The ensuing chaos is not chaos at all. It is a diagnostic tool of unparalleled precision. As the rumors begin to circulate, you will not only discover who is incapable of discretion, but you will be able to trace the precise pathways of betrayal. When you hear the Eastern expansion story repeated back to you, you know the exact point of origin. You are not just identifying leaks, you are mapping the hidden networks of influence, the secret conversations, the allegiances and conspiracies that operate beneath the surface of your command. This is a social X-ray, revealing the skeletal structure of your organization. Having mapped the flow of information, you must now test the substance of your subject's character. For this, you will employ a more brutal instrument, the test of the sacrificial pawn. This test is designed to measure how men react to the sudden misfortune of a peer. Their response to a comrade's fall reveals more about their own nature than 1,000 hours of conversation. You will select a person within your circle, the pawn. For the test to be most effective, this individual can even be a witting accomplice, a loyal lieutenant playing a role in a grander stratagem. You will then engineer this pawn's public fall from grace. It need not be a catastrophic end. A demotion, the assignment to a humiliating project, a sharp but controlled public rebuke from you. The method is secondary to the effect. You have wounded one member of the herd, and now you must watch how the others react to the scent of blood in the air. Their reactions will be immediate and instinctual. The cowards, fearing that the fallen's misfortune is contagious, will immediately distance themselves. They will avoid him, ignore his communications, and act as if he never existed. They are weak, unreliable, and will abandon you at the first sign of your own decline. The vultures, the truly dangerous opportunists, will see the pawn's fall as a chance to rise. They will join in the criticism, perhaps even fabricating new faults to signal their own superior loyalty to you. They kick the man who is down to show you how high they can raise their own leg. These men are the most treacherous of all, for their allegiance is only to the upward momentum of their own ambition. They will celebrate your funeral if it means they get to inherit your house. But then you may find a third type of man. He may not rush to the pawn's defense, a foolish act of open defiance, but he will not join the jackals. He may offer a quiet word of support to the fallen, or simply continue to treat him with professional dignity. He refuses to participate in the feeding frenzy. This man possesses a core of integrity. His actions are dictated by an internal code, not by the shifting winds of political favor. He demonstrates immense courage by refusing to debase himself. This is a man of substance. His character is an anchor, and in the violent storms that inevitably beset any ruler. Such anchors are all that stand between you and the rocks. You have learned to observe, to measure, and to provoke. You have mastered the craft of the strategist who sets the stage and directs the play from the shadows. You have held the mirror of dissent up to your allies and dissected their character with the scalpel of manufactured crisis. Now, you stand at the threshold of the final act. Before we reveal the masterstroke that separates the wheat from the chaff, the loyal core from the treasonous husk, ensure you are subscribed. For the wisdom of how to solidify power is the ultimate lesson, reserved only for those who are prepared to act decisively. What you have done until now has been mere reconnaissance. You have mapped the enemy's territory. Now you will force his hand. You will compel him to declare his allegiance, not with words, but with a single, irrevocable choice. This is the precipice where the prince's virtue, his skill, his audacity, his cunning, stages its ultimate confrontation with Fortuna. The previous tests were designed to reveal a man's tendencies and inclinations. This final examination is designed to reveal his soul. For a man's true essence is not shown in how he responds to the pressures you apply, but in the choices he makes when he believes he is entirely free. When he believes fortune has smiled upon him and opened a door that no one else can see. You will not create a problem for him to solve. You will create an opportunity for him to betray you. You will construct a golden, glistening path leading away from your throne, a path paved with everything his heart desires, and you will make him believe that walking it is his own idea, his own destiny. This is the final, most dangerous, and most illuminating test of all. It is the abyss of ambition, and you will invite your most trusted associates to stare into it. This masterstroke is the test of the golden path to betrayal. Its execution requires a level of artistry and self-control that surpasses all previous maneuvers. It is the creation of a perfect, irresistible illusion. First, you must feign a critical vulnerability. This cannot be a simple mistake. It must appear to be a consequence of overwhelming circumstances. Perhaps you are drawn into a protracted conflict with a powerful external rival, a crisis that consumes all of your attention and resources. Perhaps you announce a prolonged journey to a distant province, leaving a vacuum of power in your court. Or in a move of supreme psychological manipulation, you may feign a sudden and debilitating illness, one that clouds your judgment and weakens your grip on the reins of power. The performance must be utterly convincing. You must appear distracted, weakened, even naive. You must allow a calculated sloppiness to enter your administration, letting crucial details slip, creating the impression that the master's eye is no longer watching. You are presenting your flank, seemingly exposed by the cruel hand of fate. Into this manufactured vulnerability, you will introduce the bait. The bait must be nothing less than the fulfillment of your target's deepest ambition. For the man who craves wealth, you will leave the keys to the treasury under the stewardship of a seemingly incompetent guard. For the man who lusts for status and command, you will delegate an unprecedented level of authority to him, granting him control over military legions or vital territories, citing your own illness or distraction as the reason. For the man who sees a rival as the only obstacle to his ascent, you will create a scenario where he is given the means and the opportunity to orchestrate that rival's downfall, seemingly without your knowledge or consent. The opportunity must be flawless. It must seem like a once-in-a-lifetime alignment of stars, a gift from fortune itself. The target must be convinced that his moment has arrived, not as part of your design, but in spite of it. He must believe that your weakness is his strength, that your misfortune is his destiny. The final element, and the most crucial, is the illusion of impunity. He must be made to believe that his act of betrayal will be untraceable, a secret coup that will leave him with the prize and you with the blame for your own carelessness. He will step into a room, believing he is alone with his ambition. But you will be the walls, the floor, the very air he breathes. You will watch, and you will judge. And his choice, to seize the golden prize or to turn away from the path of treason, will be his final testament. Once the test is complete, the final judgment cannot be a negotiation. It must be an act of political physics, a swift and irreversible reordering of your universe. Here you will deploy the principle of cruelty, well used. The results of your tests have divided your world into two distinct categories, the proven loyal and the confirmed treacherous. There is no third category. Hesitation or sentimentality at this stage is suicide. The traitors, those who walked the golden path, must be dealt with not one by one, not in a series of quiet dismissals, but all at once, in a single, coordinated, and terrifying purge. The reasons for this are brutally practical. A slow, creeping removal of enemies breeds paranoia. It allows factions to form, conspiracies to hatch. It signals weakness and indecision. A single decisive purge, however, has the opposite effect. It is a spectacle of absolute power. It is a surgical strike that removes the cancer from the body politic in one clean incision. The shock of the event paralyzes any remaining dissenters. The swiftness of it prevents any organized resistance. The sheer audacity of it creates a legend, a terrifying aura of omniscience around you. As Machiavellian instructs, injuries should be inflicted all at once, so that their taste is less savored, and they offend less. You will amputate the gangrenous limb in a single stroke, so that the body may heal quickly and be stronger than before. For those who passed the test, those who saw the golden path and refused to walk it, those who stood by the sacrificial pawn, those who brought you the unwelcome truth, your response must be the inverse. You will practice the art of the gradual reward. While injuries are delivered in a flood, benefits must be administered drop by drop. A single, massive reward is a mistake. It is quickly spent, its memory fades, and it creates an insatiable expectation for more. But a steady, calculated stream of honors, responsibilities, and wealth keeps your allies in a perpetual state of appreciation and hopeful anticipation. Each small reward reaffirms their wise choice of loyalty. It makes their allegiance a constantly profitable investment. You are not buying their loyalty. You have already tested its purity. You are now conditioning it, reinforcing it, making the bond between their self-interest and your own an unbreakable chain forged of gold, link by deliberate link. You have now arrived at the final stage. Your inner circle is no longer a collection of associates held together by hope and circumstance. It is a machine, each part tested under extreme pressure, each component proven to be of the finest quality. You have purged the weak, the treacherous, and the unreliable. You have elevated the competent, the courageous, and the loyal. You have not sought to be loved, and you have not merely sought to be feared. You have sought to be understood as an inescapable reality, a master of the human equation. This is the foundation of the true fortress of power. It is not built of stone walls or guarded by armies, but of the certainty that those closest to you are there because their loyalty has been forged in fire, and their prosperity is indivisible from your own. You have looked into the abyss of human nature, and you have not flinched. You have molded its brutal truths into a set of instruments, and with them you have built an edifice that can withstand the storms of fortune and the relentless passage of time. You have not created a circle of friends. You have engineered a state.